Flow Unleashed.
Ever wondered what goes through an Olympian's mind just before the gun goes off? Or how an elite athlete prepares for their biggest moment? Welcome to Flow Unleashed. I'm Dr. Cameron Norsworthy, scientist and high-performance coach to multiple world champions. In this show, we unpack key insights on specific topics so that you are kept up to date with the latest science and practice of human performance. Welcome to today's episode where we dive into the mental side of preparation for high-stakes events. Athletes perform at their best when they are mentally prepared. It sharpens their attention, boosts their confidence, fuels their motivation, and fortifies their resilience. But what exactly does it take to reach that state of readiness? In this podcast, we'll explore the strategies that elite athletes use to prepare for critical moments. Not just one-off events, but to sustain excellence over an entire season or career. We'll discuss mental tools to improve focus, build confidence, handle distractions, and overcome challenges. Joining us today is someone who knows firsthand what it takes to thrive under pressure. Martina Wegman is a world-class Dutch slalom canoeist, extreme kayaker, and Olympian who has competed at the highest international levels since 2014. Martina has an impressive record, including a silver medal at the 2018 ICF Canoe Slalom World Championships in the Extreme K1 event, and 3 World Cup gold medals in kayak cross. She also finished 7th in the K1 event at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Beyond the competition circuit, Martina's adventures have taken her to some of the world's most dangerous rivers. In 2013, she became the first female paddler to run Uganda's Murchison Falls section, a harrowing multi-day expedition through waters teeming with crocodiles and hippos. In our conversation, we'll uncover the insights Martina gained from competing in 2 Olympics, switching between extreme and competitive disciplines and facing the risks of challenging rivers. We'll also explore how she and other professional athletes manage the often overlooked demands of their careers, the travel, teamwork, and relentless commitment it takes to perform at their peak. Whether you're preparing for an important life event or simply looking to elevate your performance in any area, this episode will help you be equipped to take on your next challenge with focus and confidence. Let's dive in.
Flow Unleashed.
Welcome to the show, Martina.
Thank you.
So I'm super excited to chat to you today because you've got a wealth of experience that we're going to go into a little bit, from changing codes as a kayaker to doing risky and dangerous kayaking to competitive Olympic style kayaking. When we started talking and working together, you were fully engaged in more extreme kayaking and dropping waterfalls. For those listening who probably don't understand what you were doing, you're willingly paddling off a massive drop, and to most people wouldn't want to look over the edge, let alone jump off it, let alone be in a kayak going down it. And that brings up that kind of fight, flight, freeze response, all that kind of anxiety and danger and risk. And what allowed you to be able to handle that pressure and enjoy the experience?
I remember a situation where one of my highest waterfalls, 70 feet, I came the day before and I was in my normal clothes, standing on that cliff on that edge of the waterfall. And I was super scared to even come close to it. I was looking like, wow, this was like, I would not want to jump up here, like without the kayak. And then the next day, we actually run this section of river above this big drop. And I knew that I had the opportunity if I wanted to run this drop or not. And I never had any pressure of running anything. So I just decided, okay, I will run this river and I will see how I feel. And then, so I arrived on the same place as the day before, but now I was in my kayak gear, geared up, and I didn't even have to think twice. I was just had the confidence. And I think it helped a little bit that the river before, it had a lot of smaller drops. So I just got more in the rhythm, and I guess just being in my kayak clothes, having my helmet on, being in my element, I didn't even have to think twice. And even interestingly was as well, there's a small drop before 10 feet, and then there's a really small pool, and then there's the 70 feet drop. And sitting in that middle pool, like it's really, really small, but I didn't feel nervous. And I was like, I need to feel nervous. Like I need to have this adrenaline, and it's not possible that I'm not nervous. So yeah, I was trying to find those nerves to go down this waterfall. So it's really, for me, it's really hard to explain because it always went quite natural. And I think for me, it was a lot of confidence. And I think now what I learned from slalom as well is probably still the visualization and even the flow mind state. It just kind of came naturally with maybe that anxiety, or still I guess there is adrenaline. Even if I couldn't feel it sometimes, I guess that still gave me that focus and that flow mindset of dropping down big waterfalls or bigger things.
It's something I really appreciated when we started working together, was you would naturally so flow orientated. Your mind wasn't on the outcome, and it was very much about enjoying yourself and learning. And you had a really inactive learning, or really kind of learner's mindset, mastery orientated mindset, where you weren't overthinking too much and you were in it for the fun of it. And that was always refreshing, because a lot of athletes, especially doing dangerous and risky things, overthink, and do you feel like that was just you and kayaking, or were you like that with everything growing up?
I think I have to thank my parents for that. I think it was quite in my upgrowing. I feel like results weren't as important. Like, I think trying my best, and even in university, I felt sometimes like that my parents were not that interested in my results, or like having high grades or anything. I think it was much more important just to try my best. And I think, I don't even know if they were trying to push for that or anything, but I think that's what, I guess, my personality took up as well, that yes, I don't need to prove anyone. I just think it's more important that I enjoy it and be grateful for opportunities, be kind, and just having fun.
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing lifestyle that you had, which I guess brings curiosity as well as to then why you kind of changed codes and went more into a competitive format and as Olympic style kayaking of slalom, which is, I remember at the time, it's a radical change. You're going from something that's more adventurous to something that's very technical, and that kind of precision of technique is ever more important. And then you've got the whole competitive landscape, which was very different. Was it just at the time you were kind of on top of the world and couldn't really get much higher, and this was just a new challenge? Or had you always wanted to do slalom, or for what reason I remember what you said at the time, but for people listening, why did you make that switch?
First of all, we always wanted to do slalom. Definitely, back in the days we were making fun of the slalom paddlers. So it's quite funny looking back now. But I think mostly the challenge, and I think that's also with the mindset again, that it's not as much about the outcome, but I really love to challenge myself. And that's, in a lot of things in life, sport related, mostly, I would say. That even if I go for a hike, I like to push myself to challenge myself.
And that career has now spanned over many, many World Cups, European Championships, and 2 Olympics. What have you learned from being on the tour or for a number of years, competing consistently throughout those seasons?
I guess I learned a lot about myself, what my drivers were. For me, it was always so important to have fun. And I think working hard was a no-brainer for me. I really like to push myself, go like maximum. And as long as I had fun, it was easy for me to go to the max. And I also would rate it as fun. Like if I reach my highest heart rate in a session, I would feel really satisfied, and I would translate it as fun, surprisingly. But I guess I have a good discipline that I like to train hard and to work hard and not take the easy road. So yeah, I guess I learned that about myself.
Yeah, and that sounds easy, but I know we've talked lots about this because it wasn't always fun and it wasn't always easy, right? There's the constant traveling, being away from loved ones. There's the training. Then there's team dynamics where you might not get on with certain people, and the competitive dynamics. It's actually quite a challenge to keep that fun going. And what are some of the things you felt worked in that respect? Because I think lots of people would relate to that. The more fun we have, the more engaged we are, and the less effort and friction we feel with it. How did you keep that fun going?
Yeah, you're right. The most challenges I had was when I lost the fun of pedaling, and that's when usually was my hardest time in the sport. So, and that's what I, through our meetings as well, learned mostly, that I had to really make sure that fun was my priority. And even like later in my career, I still could have done things better or like changed things to make it more fun. But I always felt that I was searching a lot from people that I enjoyed hanging out with, which isn't always easy because you're reliant on them. But yeah, I realized that for me, that was the easiest way, was to get myself in situations where I was with friends that I really just enjoyed spending time with. So actively trying to search for that was helping me, and vice versa. If I couldn't find that, or if there was quite a negative environment in our team environment, it was much harder for me to perform. So this is probably one of my weaknesses, I would say, because I really looked for that fun element from the outside, like finding training partners to just enjoy on the water, having a coffee with people I enjoy spending time with. But I needed those people to give me that energy.
Yeah. When you were saying that, it just brought up memories of us chatting when sleep wasn't going very well. When you weren't having a lot of fun, sleep became a bit more difficult. And I remember some of the weird and wonderful things you tried to try and get sleep up, from walking on pins of needles, the pin cushion, which I've still got it. It's actually sitting in the office, to stretching and relaxation. And most of us all struggle with sleep at some stage. The more stressed we are, sleep becomes an issue. How important was sleep to you, and what did you feel worked in the end to help you get consistently good sleep?
I think I learned more and more, like in the off season or when I have a holiday, is that I think my bad sleep came that I like to push my body that hard that there's really like the physical stress is like really high, because usually mentally I would fall asleep really easily. I didn't have any feeling that I had anxiety or anything to fall asleep. I would just constantly wake up multiple times during the night. And after I figured out that that really was hand in hand with training. If I was doing VO2 max sessions, so like pushing myself really, really hard, 90%, my sleep quality would drop. So in the end, it was a really useful tool actually for me to notice my training load and when I starting to be overtrained, because my sleep would go down and I also would start to have some breathing problems. And yeah, I learned that the physical activity is stress as well. So trying to work around that and be more alert on nutrition and rest time between trainings, and then like the sleep hygiene and everything was quite important to try and minimize waking up too many times during the night. But it's when you're an athlete who loves to push yourself really hard, it's really hard to hold back. Like even when alarm bells ringing, all the symptoms are there, it's so hard to, like, the goal is to just hit those heart rates as high as possible and to push yourself. So yeah, I did learn a lot from that, but also I didn't have access to a coach throughout the whole year. So I had no one to actually hold me back when I needed to be held back. So I multiple times made the mistakes and was training a bit too much, I think. And yeah, it wasn't until much later in my career, I guess, that I was trying to find out about those symptoms of sleep and trying to be a bit cautious with it.
Yeah, and if I can just double click on that point, because I think that's a really important point. You know, most either elite athletes or professionals have a system and a structure where you walk into, and there's a lot of guidance there. And something I find unique in action sports is a lot of athletes don't have that structure, don't have that support. And we're kind of lone wolves trying to gather information from here, there, and everywhere, and having to self-lead, having to self-manage, having to self-optimize, which in itself can be exhausting and difficult to know what to trust and what to weigh up as more important or less important. What were the struggles there for you, and what were the wins that you came out with?
I think that has a bit to do with the personality of the athlete again as well, because one of my driver was actually that I was really enjoying having the lead in my campaign. So I was writing my own training schedule. I spent a lot of time training without a coach, and I did learn like how to set goals for my session, and I did a lot of video review myself, like analyzing myself. And I think I was finding that the more I did myself and the harder I worked, the better I was getting. And actually for me, the times that, especially when I started to work with my first coach, when he started to take over my training schedule, he took a little bit away of the fun part and also the bigger picture. Like I really needed to see the end goal and then like why I'm doing certain things, like a lot of why. And when someone else was doing it, sometimes I was losing that side. So for me, I was really grateful that I had the freedom to do that myself and explore myself. And I think that is a bit of personality as well, and maybe the background I had as well, because I think for some athletes that's the worst scenario ever and they would have no clue in what to do. But for me, it was really empowering to just find the information, making my own training schedule, and have full trust that that was working. Like I never had that doubt, because I choose that that's my way, and I was like, I try my best. So this is, I had trust in it.
I kind of felt that because you had that from the beginning, you had that autonomy, that agency, and you like to do things Martina's way, and you got to know yourself really well, you got to know your body really well, you got to know what works for you really well, and then when someone comes in to try and change that or doesn't give you that same freedom, especially if you're not 100% sure whether you can trust them or not because you haven't worked with them yet, can be really, really difficult, not just for you but for other athletes. And the many other athletes, I guess they don't get that autonomy and that personal wisdom until later in their career, when they outgrow their coaches and then they have to sort of start reinventing the wheel and doing things their way. But I remember there's a number of times in the last several years where you've had that conflict of, do I double down on my intuition here and trust myself and do what I feel is right, or do I go with what the coach is suggesting or the status quo is suggesting, or what is expected here?
Yeah, I think because I try to be open-minded as well, and I want to get the information, but then I think that's where sometimes I clash with my own personality. I want to get the information, but I want to have control over what information I'm taking out of that. So I feel like if someone is really just giving me a week training plan and tell me to do that, and I have no idea the reason why I'm doing that, it just doesn't work for me. Like, I have too many questions. I need to know why I'm doing it. So I tried it because I want to be open-minded and I want to get the information and learn and to see if I'm missing things in my plan or my preparation. But I want to still have the control of seeing the bigger picture and why I'm doing that. And saying that I had a lot of mentors and people I trusted who gave me information as well. So it wasn't, I was double checking as well, and I was trying to find all the information to make a plan that I just fully trusted and was behind. I think that was important for me to create that trust in that way.
And what did you gain or benefit or learn from prioritizing your mental game?
I always have really enjoyed the mental game, and I think it's one of the most important in sport. And I remember before we met, because our first meeting, I actually had no idea that it was about mental coach or anything the first time we met. And I remember back in the days, I always didn't really want to talk about it because I was scared I was losing what I had, because usually in competitions I was actually doing better than in training, and I was feeling like that was just a gift to me. And I was thinking that if I would overthink or if I would talk about it, I would lose it. But then through our meetings I quickly realized that it's the opposite, that actually you can fine-tune it and you can work on it and learn even more. I remember especially for the Worlds in, was it 2009 or 2021 maybe, in Germany, the Worlds, where my confidence was pretty low. We did one session, and I think that session just gave me the confidence to perform in the race. And without that session, I probably wouldn't have been able to perform the same way I did. So I found the mental part in sport so interesting. And also it's pretty cool to watch younger athletes. I think from quite a young age, you can already see which athletes have it natural and which athletes need to push a little bit. And unfortunately, I would say some athletes which don't have it and they really struggle with the mental part to step up in sport. So I find it really, really interesting. And I learned a lot throughout probably both the extreme kayaking and slalom with it.
And are you willing to talk about the way you prepare, that bubble that you create prior, or is that top secret knowledge that cannot be shared?
No, it's because I guess everyone has their own routine. But I like that I have a tool that if I have to race now, even if I'm super unprepared, I can get into that race mindset and race mode and feel like, yeah, because we have built that, I can feel like I can trust on that. It's really just the last bit of my preparation for on race day. And I've created a sort invisible shield around myself, which I jump into. And this shield has some cues what is important to me. And it also has been changing over my career. But in that bubble, I have my song, which I think of before the start, and also something which I think has been very helpful for me is Japanese philosophy, ganbatte, and that is if you try your full best, you cannot be disappointed with the outcome. And that is because also in especially in slalom later in my career, the more you invest something, even though if you're not outcome focused, it still is going to be a little bit more important. It was a tool to take that outcome away and just try my full best. Like I cannot do more than fully go for it. So yeah, that were things I put in my bubble that once before, like being at the start line of a race, yeah, just stepping in the bubble gave me all those clues to race.
Yeah, just as you were describing it, I wanted to get into that bubble myself. into that
Well, that's
happy
a good
place
thing
of
from the
confidence.
bubble. That's a good thing from the bubble as well, that it's like a shield. And what I don't want, I can block off. It's not allowed to get into my bubble.
Yeah.
So I could just choose what I want, who I want to get inside. But if I don't want something outside, or inside, I just leave it outside. And that's not important.
And was that something that was a visual thing, or was it something that was you felt and could sense, or both, or did one develop over time stronger than the other?
It developed over time, but I guess we worked on that as well. Because I remember one of our earlier sessions, you asked me to pick a symbol to also get into the race mode. And I remember that I picked the symbol, and a few races later, because we picked the symbol and then we put it into my body, that I could like visualize and take it out of my body before the race to get into the flow state. And so a few races later, I wasn't trying, but naturally I was like blowing these symbols out or something. They were just like all these little symbols just came out of me, and I wasn't even trying, but naturally it was just, happened. And that symbol was, we worked on that was connected to like my flow mind state and getting into the right zone for the race. So it was quite, a fun process to visualize and working with those symbols and then the bubble and like creating all those little tools and skills to develop and in the end create something that worked for me best.
Yeah, it's amazing how powerful that those symbols are, and just that intention of, I want to create my bubble, I want to create my optimal state, and that intention of doing that can just radically shift all that, whatever might be distracting, whether it's negativity or thinking about something that's going on over there or what other people are doing. Yeah, super important.
And especially, I think you mentioned that symbols are easier to translate for our brain now, or it's easier to think of a symbol than words, especially if it doesn't come naturally, or you like scared for failure and you like don't touch, or those bad things that you don't want to think of. It's easier to just think of a symbol and you already have put positive associations with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's quicker to access embodied states through visual representations. We kind of don't access or activate the thinking brain. We activate that kind of explicit cognition and that hot system, and allows us to get not only build that state that we want to build, but also be more hardwired to our motor cortex and the physical application of what we're doing. You know, really important in athletes. There's so many athletes, when things get stressful or difficult, myself included, I tend to overthink and try to think my way through it, or tell myself what I should be thinking and what I should be saying. And all the time we're just sort of thinking more and becoming even more overactive in our brain, and kind of taking ourselves away from that really connected performance that can feel so good when we get it right. Are you looking to improve your performance, stress less and flow more? Do you want to improve the human performance in your organization or team? If so, we are here to help. Our team of experts specialize in helping individuals and businesses integrate a high-performance practice and culture. So if you want to take your performance to the next level, or integrate the lessons and skills you hear on this pod into your leaders and teams, go to flowcenter.org today, the official site of flow training and flow coaching. And what advice would you give to a younger you?
Younger me, I think to maybe be more confident. Even top models, they're not happy with the way they look or their weight or anything. So even if a top model is not going to be happy, it's not because of how they look, or, it's the mindset to it. Yeah, and I think I would give the younger me advice to be more confident and able to laugh about yourself, not to try to be perfect or to be liked by others, and just try to, even though I think I always have been myself, I think just the confidence in that's enough. And yeah, just to, even if you fall, to not be embarrassed, but just to laugh about it.
Yeah, and I've sort of witnessed you do that really well on social media. I think on athletes nowadays, the demands of social media and what everyone else is thinking and saying, and the comparisons are just so easy and so difficult for athletes to manage that world of social media and that place of just accepting how I am. What do you feel has been helpful for you in navigating that social media world whilst having social media responsibilities as a professional athlete?
Yeah, social media. Wow, it's a hard one. I guess I'm really happy that I grew up without social media, that I'm super grateful for. And I guess I more saw it as a tool to promote myself in sport, I guess always with maybe the mindset of sponsors who could help. And I guess all of us know we on social media too much. Like sometimes we're just sitting on the couch, like scrolling, and certainly 20 minutes are gone. But I guess I really try to just use it as a tool to showcase what I'm doing, trying to maybe inspire young ones to get out of their comfort zone, get outdoors, get off their phones and go outside, do things.
Yeah, wise words. Well, in coming to the end of the podcast, is there a book or film that you feel has had a really good impact on you?
There are a few. I guess I have to pick one. No, I think mostly with my sport career, like that, I would say that's different for life and different for sport career. And with sport career, I think the book my parents gave me before the Tokyo Olympics, and that was with that Japanese philosophy, Ganbatte. And they say that they cannot really translate these words in any language. and they have 100 little stories to try explain what this word means. And after this 100 stories, what I got out of it is that giving your full best, trying your full best, you cannot be disappointed with the outcome. And that has helped me a lot in life, like in sport, like in the racing, but also, I guess, in a lot of things like presentations. I used to be not the biggest fan of presentations, but then, yeah, this motto of if I just try my best, even if this presentation goes fully wrong, I tried my best. Like I worked and I did my best. So, and it just takes away that fear of failure, and it just makes you a lot freer and confident to give that presentation or whatever it is in life. So yeah, it's a really easy book to read. Like you can read it in, well, if you're fast reading, you can probably read it in 2 hours. But yeah, it's quite I think, a nice philosophy.
Yeah, you probably want to give yourself more time to think about it than the 2 hours to read it.
Yes, yeah.
Time to flip the mic.
Payback time.
Yes. What was your biggest adventure so far?
Oh, wasn't expecting that. My biggest adventure so far. I mean, I've got visions of being held at gunpoint and sleeping in a jungle and having something that felt like a snake crawl across my face in the middle of the night and I couldn't see it. And, you know, all the kind of jungle stories that you often hear, I felt like I went through, of crawling pillows of ants and so forth. But what keeps standing out is, I guess, being a parent. I think it's an adventure like no other. You know, just when I think I'm comfortable, I become uncomfortable again. Adventure's that kind of exploration into the unknown. I certainly didn't feel wholly prepared to be a father, and that's probably an understatement. And it's just this constant surprise and wonder and privilege and uncomfortableness and joy and challenge. That's kind of never ending. It's probably why it stands out above all the other
Every day,
adventures.
every minute. Yeah. Nice one.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Awesome to chat to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Flow Unleashed.
As we wrap up this insightful conversation with Martina, one takeaway stands out: the power of staying light and playful under pressure. Martina's approach reminds us that fun is not just a byproduct of competition, it's a skill to master. And by embracing a playful mindset, we can turn high-stakes moments into opportunities for genuine engagement rather than distraction. This strategy helps competition feel like training and allows us to savor experiences that will remain in our memories for years to come. Martina also highlighted the significance of having a guiding philosophy to anchor ourselves amidst the chaos of preparation and competition. For her, this is embodied in the Japanese spirit of gambate. Loosely translated, gambate means do your best, or give it your all. It's a deeply ingrained cultural ethos encouraging perseverance, resilience, and wholehearted effort, no matter the challenge. The essence of gambate is about trusting your own abilities and embracing the belief that the true obstacle lies not in external circumstances, but in how you rise to meet them. Martina's commitment to this philosophy serves as a powerful reminder that mindset is the cornerstone of consistent performance, a way to ground yourself when perfection feels out of reach, and to propel yourself forward with courage and determination. Let Martina's journey inspire you to find your own central philosophy, one that steadies you under pressure and keeps you reaching for your best. Whether it's the spirit of gambate, or putting on a flow mindset, or a personal mantra of your own, these guiding principles can transform how you prepare for and face life's most important events. If you want to find out more about Martina Wegman, please see the show notes. Thank you for listening to Flow Unleashed. If you enjoyed listening, please subscribe to get notified when our next episode drops. The more people that subscribe, the better I can make the show for you. Equally, please leave a review. Your review will go a long way to helping others find this pod. Until the next time, thank you for listening to Flow Unleashed.